Baby Wolf's Worried Man Blues. Hi guys, it's Ali Reza. This video is going to be about this piece, which is very simple actually. Going over the basics real quick. Key signature is 1 sharp, which puts us in the key of G major. You've already done that scale. All the notes you play are natural except for one, that is going to be F. Whether it's low F, medium F, high F, wherever that F is on your instrument is going to be sharp. There's only one F actually that you play in this piece, which is extended fourth on C. We're going to talk about that in a second. You may wonder what these lines are. These are just to separate sequences for you in this piece. We've already talked about sequences. You may or may not see sequences in some of your music. In this one, you can see it clearly. What sequences are, they're pretty much a set of measures and notes that repeat a lot. So if you look at the first sequence, starting from here, you repeat the same measure over and over and over again, all the way up to here. By the way, rhythm stays the same. The rhythm is the same exact all the way to the end. The last one you play is a whole note with a fermata on it. Just you hold it until we end, until we all end together. The second sequence starts from here, and you play it all the way up to this point. Then you go back to the first sequence that you just played. You do that again, all the way up to here. And this is going to be your third sequence. And you have a new set of notes within each of the sequences. Then you go back to first. We're not going to do this repeat. That's going to make the piece extremely long. So make sure you don't repeat back to this point. No repeats. Third sequence, first sequence, and the piece is over. Now, try to do this layer if you can, but if not, it's okay, you don't have to. And SIM, by the way, stands for sempre, which means you repeat whatever that you were doing for the specific beat or measure sometimes. In this case, it's just going to be those two snares. So G, high G, right? So right, repeat that, but keep the same snare. We're gonna repeat that for a while. Then once you get to your second sequence, keep in mind that C on A string is going to be second finger, not the sharp version. So C on G, fourth finger, and then second finger instead of third, it's a second. If you can't do the slurs anymore, just do a separate, it's okay. Then back to the first sequence, all the way to this point. This is your third sequence, which is very easy. That's first finger on C string, so make sure it's right on the yellow. D, D, A, B, D. So, right, 1 open, 1 3 open. Or I think doing a slurs with the first and third sequence, you should be very easy because they're on both of the notes that need to be in one bow, they happen to be on one string. But in the other one, the sequence 2, you actually have to change. You go from 4 to open, which is extremely doable. But if it's difficult for you for now, it's not only you have to play it in one bow, but you have to pivot too. You have to go. And if this technique is a little difficult yet, we can work on it to see what happens. But you could do that one separately. If you want to do sequence 2 separately, yeah, it's totally fine. Just make sure you practice it slowly. And one tricky thing, it's got some pros and cons, right? The downside of having a bunch of similar notes, you've guessed it, is that you most likely are going to get lost, right? So if you remember in canon, you had bunch of notes in, I mean, bunch of numbers in parentheses for each set of four measures. In that case, it's a little bit different because in Canon you had sets of four bars that repeated themselves, right? But in this case, sequences happen randomly. You don't have a set number for each sequence that repeats itself. So what I would suggest is to color code it. For instance, one of the easiest ones would be you would like use one color for sequence one and then use another color for sequence two, the same color that you use for one, you use it again, and another new color for sequence 3, and so on. Match the colors as sequences repeat themselves down the piece as well. Or you could write measure numbers starting with the first sequence, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, all the way until it ends, then starting back on 1 again with the next sequence when it starts, all the way until it ends, then you start with 1 again. So each sequence that it starts, you start with the measure number 1 until it ends. That could be a little bit confusing again. I would go with colors for you guys for now so that you don't get messed up, because if you forget where you are, the piece is every measure of it looks exactly the same as other measures, so it's probably going to be very difficult to find your spot, right? So I would go with different colors as the priority. Just practice it slowly and you'll be perfectly fine as far as playing all the notes in tune. Don't rush. Speed needs to stay the same. There is nothing complicated about this piece, speed wise. No retardandos, ralltandos, none of that. Everything stays the same from beginning to the end, and no repeats. That's all I have to say about this piece. Have fun practicing, guys. That's it.